Let's define the term impulse. When outside force is acting on an object, what the force does to the object, or the effect of the force, it has to do with several different things. Mass of the object is one of the variables in play here. But if we are thinking about the effect of the force, the effect is or depends on largely on how long the force is in action, for how long the force is pushing or pulling the object. And how long can be thought of in two different ways. The long could mean a distance, or how long might mean time. How much time, for how long in terms of time is the force in action. Now, force times distance, if the long means a distance, over how long of a distance the force is in action. That quantity, force times the distance, we call that work, and that's measured in joules. And it also tells us how much kinetic energy the object is going to have after it's being pushed by the constant force F over the distance d. The how long in terms of time, this is what we call impulse. So when force is acting over a certain period of time on an object, the quantity which we get by multiplying the force times the time, that's equal to what we call impulse. And of course, the units would be the units of force times the units of time. So newtons times seconds, or newton seconds, would be the standard units for impulse. Now, to give an object a large impulse, if I want to get a large impulse, this can be accomplished with in two different ways. In one, we could act on the object with a large force over just a small period of time. With a sufficiently large amount of force, the amount of time for which the force is in action could be very small, and the impulse on the object could be still very large. This is the case, for example, with a baseball bat and a baseball ball, or a golf club. A golf club is in contact with the ball over just a very small fraction of a second, yet the impulse given to the golf ball is very, very large, because the force by which the ball was struck was a large force. I can also give an object a large impulse if I'm pushing with a small force but over a large period of time. I could be pushing a tanker with a small force. If that force is enough to overcome the friction that's stopping the tanker, if I act for a long, long time with that small force, I could give the tanker a large impulse. So two ways to give an object large impulse. Big force over a small period of time, or a small force over a large period of time. Of course, you can have also the case when you have a large force acting over a large period of time, and then you get a really, really large impulse on an object.